Welcome back to the Bluegrass on this beautiful but kind of rainy October afternoon. I'm out with Memphis, my 4.5-month-old British-style Labrador Retriever, and we're doing a little bit of mentor dog training with him, right? I've got the older dogs out, and we've been out on a hike, and now we've come back up. We're doing a little bit of formal school work, and my question for you today is, when should I start shocking Memphis? Okay, it's a pretty simple question. Like, I'm going to walk him around a little bit, show you guys what I'm working on with them at 4.5 months old, and I want you to put in the timestamps where I would be better off if I was using an electric collar. Okay, now for those of you familiar with my channel, you know that when I'm doing basic obedience, I like to kind of combine basic obedience with you know, a set of physical skills that makes the obedience worthwhile in the real world, right? So I like to be able to tell a dog to come, to walk nicely on a loose leash, to jump on things, go under things, go over things, go through things, to wait for a little while, to stay for a long time if needed. And I find that if I'm just working on that on a flat surface, like out in my yard or on the sidewalk or even uptown at the park or something, that my vocabulary doesn't translate into the type of real world adventures that I like to have. So when I'm teaching my vocabulary, I come out here and I do so on my Exercise with Small Challenges course. We establish a basic vocabulary here on this course, and then we can use that vocabulary when we go out into the real world. On this small table here, this is what we call an examination table. I like to have the dogs jump up so that I can do a cursory physical examination on them. Look in their ears, look at their eyes, their teeth, their spine, their privates, their belly, their chest, their joints and toes. I like to know that my puppies are healthy, you know, and I like to get them ready for going to the vet or to the groomer, whichever case, whatever the case may be. Right? And Memphis at 18 weeks old, or however old he is, seems to be doing pretty well there, you know. I like to be able to have dogs negotiate hard obstacles like this log with just a teeniest bit of direction from the leash. I like them to be able to go around other dogs and not be overly excited or to be fixated on the other dogs to the detriment of my ability to control the dogs on the leash, right? And I like for my labor inputs in the training to be relatively small, okay? So from my perspective, like pushing this button and handing the dog a treat is not all that much labor, right? Okay, now I could be using an electric collar for some of this stuff, I guess, but the labor input for the electric collar would be very similar, right? I'd have to push the button. I like to push this button instead. And I think really probably the dog likes me pushing this button instead of the button on an electric collar also, but I could be wrong, so put it in the comment section below. Up, 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 very nice. Oh, very good dog, easy. Oh, now right there, see where there was like a lot of water in my slide there? Now, I didn't really want him to, you know, to jump over that water, and I wasn't paying attention and didn't notice how full it was. But is that a place where I'd be better off correcting him? Or would I be better off going back over there and working through that slowly and gradually desensitizing him to having his feet in that water, right? Okay, you can do it either way. I know people that would just take their dog, put them right back in that tire, get on their leash, right, and correct the dog for taking the wrong course. And I know people who would take and kind of, you know, gradually desensitize the dog to having water in the slide, even if it meant, you know, on non-rainy days, carrying a little bit of water over there and putting it in the slide. Okay, I don't think it's a matter of right and wrong. I think it's a matter of preference, but tell me what you think. Now, I'm gonna go through this tunnel here, easy. Get pretty good compliance here. Dog comes out, he likes that. Now again, here we have the opportunity for the dog to venture off of the path that I would like him to take, right? So my approach could be, if he goes to get off of this ramp, because I want him to take every step all the way down the ramp, he could get in trouble for getting off of it, which is it's a viable technique. Or like I could just take and, you know, make walking down the ramp a series of very small steps where he gets paid. And we can repeat that pattern until he gets in the habit of doing it the way I like. Same thing with these cones. Now, see, I'm just walking with a pretty slack leash here. Every so often, you'll see me tighten up on the leash just enough to get him back in compliance. And now how I've taught that is whenever there's like a change in direction that's indicated by a little bit of leash tension, if he catches up very quickly, then I reward him. Stay. Nice straight sit. Now I choose to teach this straight sit using a barrier board Okay, you could use it, you could teach a straight sit with correction. I just think that's kind of easy just to walk up by this board, click and treat a few times, and then over the course of a couple of months, the dog's just kind of getting a habit of sitting and staying, right? All right, now here we run into another place where we could use compulsion, stay. I could tell him, hey, look, if you get off of that little platform there, you're in trouble. Okay, pressure on, pressure off. Or I can just make sitting on that platform a good idea, even if I'm walking around him and he's having to fight the urge to find me. Very nice. Okay. Same thing when it comes to jumping over something slippery. Up, up, up. A little bit of leash tension there. And we'll go over here. I'm going to ask him to get into side by side. Good. Another place where I could tell him to get into side by side, right? I could be like, get in there or else. Or I can present him with the opportunity to get in the side by side where he has two types of reinforcement. Number one, if he gets up in there and we're not going anywhere, he probably gets, you know, I make over him and I give him a lot of treats and stuff like that. And number two, if he gets in there and we are going somewhere, he gets to go do something fun. Okay. Very nice. Up, up. Very good boy. Very good boy. Up, up. We start in with our directed stays and motions. Now right there, again, I could teach him to stay there by him getting in trouble if he got off of that that set of boxes there, stay. Or I could just convince him that if I walk away, it's a good thing because when I come back, I'm bringing something awesome with me. Very nice. Okay. Now, a lot of times when people talk about introducing directional commands to Labradors, they like to do so with the electric collar, right? Like there'll be some type of object placed out in the field, and there's pressure applied to the dog until the dog gets to the object, right? Not saying that's right or wrong. Maybe I should do it that way, but this is kind of the way I like to do it. I'll be over here. Let's say I want him to get in a boat. I use what I call as a magic finger, and I'll tell him, hey, get in a boat. And then I tell him, hey, that's awesome. I really appreciate you getting in the boat. And then we'll kind of break that down to where we walk a little bit farther back every time. Up, get in the boat. Very nice. Okay. Now you'll notice that there's a blind on the boat. He's kind of jumping ahead. Maybe I want to teach him to go in a certain direction using a blind, or over here I have a bowl, so we'll go out in the yard and I'll show you that. So I'll take my blind and let me see here, cameraman. I think I'll do it like this so that you can see me sideways. I ask him to go in the blind with my magic finger. Get in the blind. Hey, kill up. He goes in there. I give him a little reward there. And then I call him into the service heel position. Very nice. Good. Kill up. And you can see here, you see where like he's like sniffing around, seeing if there's a treat over here. That dog's barking at him and stuff. This is a place where a lot of people would use pressure to get him in the blind. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wait and see if he gets in there on his own. There he goes, and I'm gonna mark him when he goes in there, say I appreciate that. Come back like this, kennel up. Reward him, very good. Good. Let me change angles here, cameraman. Kennel up. Very nice. Heel. Call him into the service heel position. Very nice. Kennel up. Very nice. Heel. Oh. Try to keep my repetitions per session short, like usually in the 3 to 5 range. Kennel up. Very nice. Heel. Get all the way over here. I like to think about this exercise here, both of these exercises really, as like mailboxes, right? If you had some different mailboxes out in front of your house, but the check consistently came to a certain mailbox on a certain day, on that day you would always go check the mailbox where you perceived the check was likely to be. So when you're doing your retrieving exercises and you're not necessarily getting the compliance that you want, from my perspective, it's very rarely a situation where you need a ton of compulsion or you need to fuss at the dog much. It's more like you need to back up and tell him what mailbox you're going to today. You know, where's that check going to be today? Some people like to teach directional commands like with a bowl, you know, so get a bowl out or some other type of thing they can put their feet on, heel. Okay, and this is kind of a fun little exercise. Very nice. Ask him to go to the bowl. And then watch. Once his feet are on the bowl, I will come to the bowl. And we'll work on what kind of got popularized a while ago as rear end awareness. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Very nice dog. You a smart dog. Very nice. You a smart boy. Let me come back this way, cameraman. Move this bowl over this way. So I'll call him into the heel position. Memphis. Oh my gosh, you can do it. You're a very good dog. Good. Very good boy. I'll come up here. Walk around a little bit. Oh my gosh, he's such a smart dog. He's such a smart dog. Very good. Move back on up here, cameraman. We'll work on a little bit of retrieving. Where does this, like the electric collar, come up a lot with Labrador Retriever training? It comes up in the actual retriever training, right? Now, from my perspective, like Labrador Retrievers should be bred for the lowest common denominator in terms of training, right? So a Labrador Retriever should be able to have great obedience and be a good hunting dog, a good retriever, good family dog, even if a person has little to no training skill and little to no training equipment, okay? So I think that the problems that are happening where people feel like they need to do a lot of force fetching is simply that they are playing games that require a little bit too much like specific directed effort out of the dog, and they're not breeding the dog specifically to have a nice soft mouth and a tendency to naturally deliver to hand. So what I like to do at a young age is start just handing the dog stuff, having them hold it for a little while, and then hand it back. Okay. Now, of course, right here, like again, we could get to some kind of pressure on, pressure off approach. Okay, but what I like to do is do what we call a pattern overlayment approach, where we teach good, solid, basic obedience skills, and then we tap into the dog's natural desire to retrieve. Okay, and so it kind of helps the dog stay focused on the retrieving aspects because their mind is subconsciously running a routine that they're already familiar with. Like if I want to transfer from that table to these steps, this dog's already familiar with these steps, so I give him that dumbbell and simply ask him to come up the steps. Okay, let me see. We can go over here a little bit, cameraman. It'd be the same thing as if I started over here. I might come to a point like right here. You don't want to make it too hard on a young dog. Come here, babies. And I give him the retrieving item. Memphis, come here. Come here, nerd. You can do it. Come on, come on. Now, so you see right here where we're having, like, he's a little bit confused about what we're doing because I haven't done it all the way from the blocks yet. Now, right there, if I'm not careful, I could get real frustrated and try to bring some compulsion into that, right? And a lot of people, if they have a little bit of trouble retrieving, they feel like it's time to go force fetch. Probably what it's time to do is back up and realize that you've skipped some steps and look in the mirror for the problem, because it's probably not the puppy's problem, because this puppy has a natural tendency to want to retrieve. I just have to tap into it and make sure that I'm setting him up for success. Very nice. Oh my gosh, he's a very good dog. He's a very good dog. Oh my gosh, he's a very good dog. Now you'll notice when I'm just teaching the specific skill, pick something up and hand it to me, or take something from me and hold it, I use a dumbbell. Now these dumbbells, okay, they're not very comfortable when a puppy is teething like Memphis is. So he doesn't really love taking that in his mouth right now, okay? But this is where the reliability comes without having to do the force fetch, is because I introduce them to, you know, a certain amount of needing to perform even when it's not perfectly comfortable and it's not super fun at a young age, right? This is what we call access via indirect action. So like if you think about wanting to give your dog hand signals out in a field, well then what you're doing is the dog's direct action, the thing that they really want to do is to go retrieve the retrieving item, the thing that they've seen fall or the thing that they think is there. The indirect action is having to look at you and take direction from you to go find it instead of just trusting their own instinct, okay? So that's the same thing that's going on here. So what I do, he wants to play fetch a little bit, but what he wants to play with is this wool sock that I have in my pocket that smells like birds, right? So before we can play that, we have to do this boring schoolwork part. Okay, so again, we got pattern overlayment where he's learning his basic obedience. He knows he has to do this course before we go do anything fun. And I'm just adding the element of sometimes you have to hold something in your mouth and you have to be still even if you don't particularly want to. Okay, and then the big payoff for that is we'll go over here in the field and we'll actually do a little bit of fun retrieving, okay, with the item that he likes. Now, what I like to do when they're young is to make retrieving an interactive game where the puppy drives the game. So instead of throwing something and telling him that he has to go get it, I'll kind of toss something and I'll walk away. What I want the effect to be is I want him to pick it up and run up to me and be like, hey Stonnie, look what I got. Can we play that game again? Okay, so most of the time, I'll tell you what, cameraman, come over here and I'll walk towards you so they can see it. Probably a better way to explain it. So I like to be out here like this, and I'm walking, and I do this on all my paths out back, and I'll toss my retrieving item, and I'll create some distance. The dog will generally like see me going somewhere and want to catch up and say, hey Stonnie, look what I got. I'm like, man, that's awesome. I really appreciate you bringing that to me. Here, let's play a little game with it. So I'll throw it, I'll create distance, and hopefully the puppy will see me creating distance. Oh my gosh, what a good dog he is. He'll bring it up here, and I like for him to deliver kind of over here on the left-hand side, what I call the service heel position. And he saw the bowl, so that's pretty good. All right, so that's kind of what I'm doing with my 18-week-old dog, okay? But here's what I want to know is when do I need to go ahead and put that shock collar on him, okay? So get in the comment section below. Type in the timestamp, you know, what time in the video did I make a mistake and when would I have been better served to be approaching the little issues that I'm having with basic obedience and retriever training, okay, with an electric collar, okay? All right, well, I look forward to hearing what you have to say, and I'll see you guys next week. Good dog, you're a very good dog.